Alright, we're going to jump into game 2 here, and currently up 1-0 for Team Slayers. Golden going in once again here, and it is Delphi. So take it away with the intros, HD, and let's jump into game 2.
Alright, here it is. So we've got ATN's Delphi. He's going to be the red Terran here. Now, the second stringer, I would say, for Team Alternate Attax, stepping in behind Zach. So you really, for lack of a better word, Team ATN kind of blowing their load early on. We'll see how this works out. Zach wasn't quite able to hang it down, but we'll see what Delphi does now. His opponent, once again, still SlayerS, still Golden, and, you know, still hot off that 1-0 win. Now, the map is Shakuras Plateau. So, I don't know. What do you think we're going to see, Paint User?
Well, I mean, Delphi has a number of options, but if I were in Delphi's shoes, I'd probably try and get a cheese win out of this one. Maybe a quick 2 racks or something like that, proxy 2 racks, and just go for a really aggressive bunker rush. You could also see him go maybe for the triple bunker rush at the natural, where you wall the Zerg into his own main. That works really effectively as well. So we'll just have to see. How many SCVs does he have queued up? Okay, he is queuing up a 12th SCV, so I don't think we're going to have a super aggressive 2 racks here. He might actually just stick with 1.
And you were talking about maybe having some kind of proxy aggression here, and I think maybe more so than you, Golden is quite aware of this. He knows that, you know, he knows that on paper that he should be outmatching Delphi right now. So he is just, you know, checking all the ins and outs, the nooks and the crannies of Shakuras Plateau, wherever the proxy location is most likely, and he sends it over here. He checks for the barracks. He doesn't see anything at all, and that's just, you know, dotting his I's, crossing his T's, and making sure that he doesn't get cheesed this game, because he is
love the scouting
with the 15 hatch.
I love the scouting with the drone. He was staying real active with it,
right?
Looking for proxies, just trying to be extra safe, and that's really what you got to do, especially against an unknown player. I'm sure, you know, the SlayerS team not too familiar with all the different foreigners and their different play styles, so you just got to play extra safe.
Yeah, I totally 100% agree, and I know I say that all the time, but I think I can say it
this time. You really do?
Yes, this time I really do.
All
I should say like 120% agree, man. So yeah, he's sent in the drone now. He wants to also check the front door. He saw a single barracks, so nothing too out of the ordinary. It's unfortunate he wasn't able to get inside, but with the Overlord at the top left-hand corner, he sees a single gas opening, so he probably is aware now at this point that it's going to be Reactored Hellions, and there's a factory coming down.
So yeah, it will be Reactored Hellions. We've seen a lot of players toying around with this lately, but you know, the build that I really like is the reactor powering build that a lot of Korean Terrans have been using. I think it's really effective.
Right.
Saw some games from Ryung recently where he's actually been opening up with 2 factory, a la back in the day, and he's also been trying the double reactor Hellion pump.
Oh, really? So no blue flame, just
while
mass
expanding,
Hellions.
yeah, just mass Hellions. It's actually pretty effective, but you know, he hasn't really found a way to make it work against really high caliber players yet. So he's got to refine that, and then, you know, give it another shot later down the road. But I definitely think there's potential to it.
I think it works really well against Zerg players that don't really like to get roaches, and they like to rely on spine crawlers and queens and Zerglings to deal off with Hellions. Because if when you add on that second factory and essentially double, quadruple, if you think about it, the Hellion production, you know, a lot of Zergs are going to be taken aback. They don't expect that. They see one factory and they're like, oh, it's just a single factory reactor, but it's very easy to hide the second one somewhere in your base.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, back at Delphi's base, he has dropped his command center on the low ground here, so no bunker up just yet either. He's pretty vulnerable right now, but that's okay. He shouldn't really be worried about pressure at this point in the game.
Yeah, it's not like a TVP or anything like that. Oh, and we do apologize, guys. We just got a notice that this is not Delphi. This is actually Cloud. Okay. So we do apologize, guys. The players' names, I guess,
he's on Delphi's account.
He's playing on Delphi's account, so we weren't quite aware of that. I do have a list that I'll pull up to correct that for the future of this cast, but we want to go ahead and correct it. It is actually ATN Cloud.
Yeah, it is. All right, so first 2 Hellions making their way into the natural here, going to poke in. Don't really see anything of importance. What's going on in the production tab? Did he make 2 additional Hellions? Because I haven't seen them yet. And he's going to see these roaches on the way out, so he's going to have to prepare accordingly.
I'd like to see him throw down a bunker right now, maybe get a quick tank, because those roaches are making their way over to the Terran base. And, this is something that Terrans fear a lot, just seeing early roaches like this. And I don't think he saw the second pair of roaches, so that's actually double the roaches that he wasn't expecting. But he is going to get the Hellions inside the natural at the very least.
I thought he was going to get in the main there for a second. He might actually be able to squiggle his way into the main if he really tries.
Dangerous. This is dangerous for Team Slayers.
Let's go back to everyone's view here. Oh no, we got roaches at the front door. He's only just now started up, but the tank is going to pop out in the nick of time.
Yeah, that
he
tank
needs to repair that
crucial.
supply depot. Yeah, that tank was perfect timing right there. Absolutely.
The tank's incredibly effective against early roach harass. This is why really a lot of Terran players will get that quick tank out after the Hellion harass. But at this point, it doesn't look like Cloud is going to be able to maintain control over his natural. He's got to lift up that orbital, and he's going to stay up in the air for quite some time until he probably gets a second tank, and he can push those roaches away.
Yeah, that's what he's going to have to do if he wants to establish his position at the natural. He is going to have to ward off those roaches at some point. And that's another benefit that he's actually getting out of this attack.
Oh, one tank, 2 roaches going down. Man, those tanks just obliterating roaches. They're surprisingly, their normal fire is pretty rapid. It's actually kind of dangerous
I think it might
to fight against.
It might actually do, well,
more.
It definitely does more single target DPS.
Oh,
but the thing,
I think so.
The thing about the siege tank, though, is that you got to factor in the splash.
I mean, and they become exponentially more powerful once you've got multiple siege tanks sieged up.
I need that Red Bull you just had, man.
Oh, I told you could have had half of it, man.
I don't like the sugary ones, man. They get me all hyped up.
I'm gonna give you
the full sugar ones. Adding his 3 additional Raxes right now. He does have both gas and 2 NG base going down, so really focusing on his infrastructure right now is Cloud, and I think he's doing a good job this far. I really like the early 3rd command center a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you. It looks like he's just going to get into a big macro phase at this point. As you said before, 2nd, 3rd barracks being thrown down, the engineering base coming up, so he is going to try to get those upgrades rolling out. And great creep spread from Golden, and this is once again very important for Zerg to do. You got to spread that creep, gain control over the middle of the territory on this map, especially since it's such an easy map for Terran players to kind of cut off in the middle. That creep spread, it helps to serve as like a buffer zone, and with the buffer, it makes it more difficult for Terran pushes to really advance on you and do the kind of damage that they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see maps kind of, evolve, or we do see games kind of evolve into these tug of war situations over the midfield.
Yeah.
Terran will have bunkers and turrets and Vikings and ghosts, and Zerg will have every unit on the tech tree in the late game on this map sometimes, and it's a really interesting map to watch.
Yeah,
I love it in TVZ as well, because it's almost always like very epic positional war type base.
I'd have to agree with you. The only thing that I have nightmares about are these ledges, and I don't think a lot of Terran players utilize it that much, but in the late game when tanks are up here and even Thors, it becomes so hard to just break through. It really forces you in kind of into a Broodlord state, and I'm not a big Broodlord fan versus Terran. I know a lot of Zergs are. But the reason why I don't use Broodlords, I don't know if anyone saw I think it was the GSL finals or the BlizzCon finals where MVP had like 40 ghosts in the middle of the map and he sniped them all down. That was just insane.
Quick micro, man.
Yeah.
He always gets the jump. He always gets the jump on people.
Yeah.
I love this, how he's cautiously moving out here. So intelligent. 57 to 81 drones, though. Yeah, Golden has been playing so greedy. He hasn't made a single unit, really, other than those roaches.
Right. And he really can't afford to do so. I mean, there is no imminent threat from Team ATN's Cloud. Right now, he is just playing very conservatively. He's moving to the 3rd. This is a very common place for Terran players to expand to because it's easy to siege up on this high ground and thereby protecting the low ground. Whereas Zergs more naturally like to expand outwardly. They want to stay away from the fire and the death and the carnage that Terrans bring. So they're going to expand to the perimeter of the map and play it more safe. But certainly have a macro game on our hands here. And I can't help but feel that that's going to fall into, Slayer's kind of, Golden's kind of play style. Because especially a really high-level Code S or even just Code A or whatever type of player, they kind of thrive off the late game, man. That's when you can spread your talents across multiple facets of the game.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, you're thinking about strategies, you're thinking about possible build orders.
Yeah.
That's all just meta game. Then you're thinking about your own build order, how you're going to execute it. Yeah, it's just so many different timings throughout the game where that's important. And we do have our first pack of mutas out here. And it looks like they're going to head straight to the main and try and get some harassment done.
These mutas are just a tad later than what you would usually expect, and not quite as big either. Just 5 or 6 really, so nothing too dangerous, but he is making 4 more, so he's about to have maybe 10 or so. And it looks like he's going to stick with the Muta Baneling build, which I'm a big fan of. Now, I feel like on this map, Muta Baneling, while it's good, I think it's a little bit harder to execute because, like I said before, it's easy for Terrans to kind of split the map in half. But one thing that Golden has been doing really well is just spreading that creep, man. I know it's kind of receding right now, but it's so far he's been spreading the creep pretty well across the map.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You were about to say I totally agree.
Yeah, for sure though. I mean, he is doing a great job, but generally, you know, we will see players spreading the creep down 3 different paths. He's actually just spreading his creep down the middle path.
That's true.
He hasn't explored the other options into the other bases.
True. Yeah, a great point right there. A lot of times our players will spread it to the north.
Yeah, they'll go both ways.
To the south. So I guess he hasn't had extraordinary creep spread. It's just been diligent.
Yeah, I agree. And not much of it has been pushed back.
Right. A Thor now on the field, so that's going to be able to make this Terran army much stronger. Guys, remember, Thors are very crucial against Zerg, especially when they go Muta Baneling, because it forces the Mutas to unclump rather than clump up and snipe individual targets out. You force the Zerg player to magic box, which means they won't be able to snipe out your tanks.
How many are those Raxes out in mid that are going down?
Oh, there is a Mutaflock harass moving in right now, Pain User, and he finds a huge opening. No missile turrets at all. What is Cloud doing?
He's actually not moving his SCVs. He's losing a ton of units right now.
Oh my god, he lost over 15 SCVs right there. That was a horrible loss.
Oh, just not paying attention for a little bit right there. Ends up getting flanked, and that triggers the all-in push.
Yeah.
He's like, damn it, you're going to take out my main? All right, well, I'm going to push straight to your base and see what I can do.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is going to work for him. I know, man. I mean, right now we have Team SlayerS Golden, kind of like Admiral Akbar, springing the trap. It's a trap. And he's going to flank everything here with all of his forces. The tanks are unsieged as well. It's all on the creep, so everything gets a speed buff, and the entire army gets blown apart.
Oh. My goodness.
That was one of the easiest I-win moves I've ever seen.
SlayerS hardly lost any supply there.
I know, he remaxed instantly with 86 Zerglings on the way.
Craziness. And he's just going to barrel straight down the front door here. And if he can get into that mineral line and start doing damage at the natural, he could potentially seal the deal here. It is coming down to the wire. The depots are going down. He's now camping the production facilities. I don't know how Cloud could climb back into this if he tried.
There's no doubt in my mind at this point. These mutas is just too much. I mean, the Marines are coming out one at a time, and the mutas kind of laugh in their face, and now with Ling reinforcements as well, there's armaments on the ground and in the air. The Zerg player from SlayerS is going to absolutely take this game without any problems at all.
And there it is. GG is called. So